Hello and welcome everybody to Toadstool Tarot just before Halloween. If you haven't been here before, welcome. If you're back again, welcome back. If you like this content, or if you just like what I'm doing regardless of the content, please hit the like button and the subscribe button, and don't forget the bell if you want notifications on future videos. So I don't ordinarily buy tarot decks related to specific times of the year or holidays. I kind of feel like, what am I going to do with the deck the rest of the year once the holiday has passed? But a lot of people are doing this. And I found a deck that I actually like the images of, just to sort of have as an art deck. Now this is going to be controversial to some because it's a company that has engendered some controversy. Personally, I haven't had any trouble or issues with them. I ordered a deck that I liked the look of last week, and it came very quickly, within about 3-4 days. It's from Duck Soup in Maine. If you don't like that, maybe don't watch now. But some people had issues over some offensive images on other decks, and the reluctance of the maker of the deck to withdraw the deck or apologize. Everybody's going to be offended by something. Some more than others. If the deck doesn't work for you, pass on. I hope there's nothing offensive in this deck, but there might be. You never know. The only issue I had with it was they sent it in a little unpadded plain envelope, no padding, which isn't the best way to send decks to keep them from getting damaged, but there was no damage. The box itself is this little tuck box, it has a weird kind of almost rubbery or latex feel to it, which is strange. I don't know what kind of coating is used on a cardboard box to make it feel like vinyl, but it's called Trick or Tarot. It is a Halloween themed collage deck using vintage images, and vintage imagery is often what can be offensive to some people. Rather than erase history, I'd like to keep the history and put it in proper context. So I don't really have, or I haven't yet, I don't think, run across a deck that I found so offensive that I couldn't use. Perhaps if I were reading to a particular clientele, I might be more sensitive about which deck I used if I thought they might be offended by it. But if I'm just reading for myself, I appreciate all decks on the art level which the creators undertook to take the time and effort to put the deck together. So this one particularly, I like the vintage images, even though they are collaged. I also appreciate the box was shrink wrapped. Inside was not shrink wrapped, but has one of these little removable bands, which I love. That's much more preferable to me than inner shrink wrap. Although I would prefer even more if the inner band was made of paper, not plastic. But it seems a little bit of plastic that we throw into our waste areas. This deck comes with a little, very little white book. And give you a quick introduction. Oh, on the opening page, there's a haunted house spread, which is different than I've seen before. I won't go into that, but if you buy it, you can find out about it. The tall, dark house is waiting for you, standing alone at the end of the block with its windows glowing orange and its central tower standing black against the night sky. As you draw nearer to its enclosed front steps, a cool wind skitters the fallen leaves in black splotches around your shuffling feet. You're wearing a new face, a monstrous face designed to repel any ghosts or ghouls who stand in your way. A spiderweb cloak wreathes you in nightshade, with the glowing jack-o'-lantern raised high to illuminate your path. You approach the house nervously. Who lives there? What goes on there? What causes the sounds that come down to you on the chill air? Halfway up the rickety stairs, you notice candlelight flickering behind the window glass, drawing near. The oblong door, once heavy but now riddled with rot, opens like a toothless mouth as you approach. You have been seen by the people inside. A gnarled arthritic hand emerges through the crack as you draw up onto the landing. You hold out the bag, expecting candy or an apple. Instead, with some puzzlement, you realize that the hand is holding out a card to you, a large card emblazoned with arcane symbols. You're afraid to look, but the hand raises the card so that it comes into the moonlight. You can't avoid seeing it. You can't avoid death. You can't avoid life. You can't avoid the future. Welcome to the Halloween Trick or Tarot. So, the major arcana has a few little changes. I don't like it when they change names generally, but you'll see as we go along they've changed. After the Chariot, they have Adjustment, which I think is Justice. That's the number 8 card. The number 13, the card with no name, is Transformative, I think, instead of, I don't remember if it has a label on it or not. In the guidebook, it says the card with no name. 14 is Art, which I didn't quite understand what that was. It's Temperance, apparently. 20 is the Eon, which is Judgment. I think those are the only changes. The court cards: Kings are air, the intellect; Queens, water, the heart; Knights, fire, the spirit; Pages, earth, the hands. And there's basically a sentence for each of the cards, the court cards, and the major arcana. And the minor arcana, just sort of a phrase or two for each one. And then there's a few spreads in here. The card stock is okay. I mean, it's just kind of ordinary. It's thick enough. These are the backs. This is the Fool. The Magician. The cards are very dark. The palette is beautiful. I love there's the High Priestess. I love, actually, the large labels at the bottom in this orange Halloween-y script. The Empress. The Emperor. There are some images that are photographs, more contemporary than others, some collage images from old cutouts. Some of them have little obscure references in them. See if I can point them out as we go along. Here's one that might offend some people. The Hierophant. It's a stereotypical vintage old witch, which I don't really have a problem with, but some people don't like witches depicted as, you know, the historical old witch with the warty nose and the green skin. Well, hers is sort of a orangey brown. Here's The Lovers, which was two actors taken from the movie Plan 9 from outer space. I'd kind of prefer that for vintage images they go back as far as the rest of these, the turn of the 20th century, rather than only as far back as the 1950s. This is The Chariot, and there's a old hotel on the hill and a sign below called Halloween, which is fun. This is Adjustment, which I guess is justice. I love that she's sort of a moth figure with jack-o'-lanterns on her wings. Here's The Hermit, which used an image of the Scarecrow from the early 1900s silent version of The Wizard of Oz, which you might want to seek out on YouTube. It's interesting to see. This is the Wheel Fortune. It doesn't say of fortune, or fortune wheel for Halloween parties. This one I'm not thrilled with. It's Strength, and it's got a black and white cutout image which looks to be a photograph, and it's paired with a bear, which I don't mind, but it's alright. Here's The Hangman, which is an inverted jack-o'-lantern. I like the borders on these. It's kind of like an iron gate, and an old-fashioned iron gate. And each card has a number in small print at the top, so you can tell what number it is if you need to look it up. This one, if you couldn't tell, is the untitled or unnamed card, Death. You can tell by the skull and crossbones on the cloak if you couldn't tell by the rest of it. This is Art, which I think is Temperance. Not sure why they called it Art. Think about art in terms of tempering your efforts. The devil here is called Old Scratch, which I kind of like. The tower is the Tower of Destruction. The Star. I think this is an actress from an old horror movie, but I'm not sure which one. Or she might have been pre-Elvira host of a TV movie, horror movie series. This is The Moon, which has, looks like twin Lon Chaney Jr. As the Wolfman on either side of the path. And it looks like a spider instead of a crayfish at the foot of the path. This is The Sun, This is the Eon, which I think is judgment, with hands coming up out of the grave. That sort of makes sense. Most of the judgment cards have people standing up out of their graves. I don't know why they called it the Eon, though. I'll look that up. This is the World. I like the dark nature of these cards. I mean, they're dark and humorous and spooky and creepy and fun. This is the King of Wands, which is a lion. Not sure why. I guess lions are kings, but I'm not sure why that relates to wands. I don't know that this is a deck that I particularly will be using, but I do like to have it just to look at the pretty art on the cards. Queen of Wands. And Halloween is one of those holidays I tend not to celebrate. Here in New York City, when Halloween and New Year's come, I tend to hide under the bed because some people enjoy, you know, getting dressed up, but mostly many people here get dressed up as an excuse to get drunk and misbehave, which I don't really enjoy. That was the Knight of Wands. Here is the Page of Wands. This is the King of Cups. They've separated the courts out apparently in reverse order here. It's sort of a Cthulhu octopus king. Queen of Cups. Knight of Cups. It's sort of a creature from the Black Lagoon type. Amphibian, reptile. Page of Cups, which is a child. King of Swords, which is an owl smoking a pipe. Queen of Swords. She's wearing an owl mask and holding her cat familiar. Knight of Swords is a pumpkin man riding a bat and an owl sitting on the moon. Page of Swords is a bat riding the night sky and creature of the Black Lagoon in the lagoon below. I hope you can see most of these. This is the King of Pentacles, pumpkin man in a pumpkin patch. This is the Queen of Pentacles, very creepy. Here is the Knight of Pentacles, which is pretty silly. It's like the Michelin man in front of an old automobile. And the Page of Pentacles. I actually like a lot of the pre-1900 photographs used in here whenever they could find them, or some of them have sculptures in them that are like Halloween memorabilia that has withstood the test of time. Oh, this is the Ace of Wands. In some places they've replicated these vintage sculptures and jack-o'-lanterns and things that you can still buy. This is the Three of Wands, which is curious. It looks like a filing cabinet filled with Halloween cards, greeting cards. And here's the Four of Wands. Sorry if I'm going a bit slow. I'm looking for things to point out before I show them to you. Here's the Five of Wands, and it's some little gourd men. At the bottom, there's a couple of them having a tug of war with a devil or a demon popping what looks like a Christmas cracker. I don't know if they have Halloween crackers too, or just... And Christmas crackers is a thing, I think, in England. We don't really have them as part of our tradition in the United States. This looks like a picture of a little boy from a catalog, perhaps in the 1930s, 40s, dress-up catalog. And there's a sort of a mother goose head on a stick. Okay, here's one that some might find offensive. Not sure. It's a Seven of Wands. There's a little black figure in the back with a fez on, which some people might find offensive. I don't take it that seriously. This is the Eight of Wands. This is a Nine of Wands, which is from, I think, the cabinet of Dr. Caligari. Is that Fritz Lang? I'm not sure. Movie, early silent movie. This is a trick-or-treat bag with candy spilling out of it, Clark bar, and some candy corn on the ground. Here is the Ace of Cups, which seems to be a sort of waterlogged, sinking pumpkin. The Two of Cups with a strange little demon moon, and a woman kissing a bear, which some people might find offensive. Three of Cups. Four of Cups. Five of Cups in the graveyard. Six of Cups from the movie Der Golem. I don't know if you know the history of the Golem, G-O-L-E-M. You can look that up. It's a clay creature that came to life. This is a, Seven of Cups. Looks like a decorated Halloween tree. Makes me think of Becca and the tree in her display area for Halloween. This is the Eight of Cups. Nine of Cups. This looks like Becca sitting on her display shelf. This is the Ten of Cups. And now the swords, Ace of Swords. If that pumpkin looks familiar, I think his head was used on the body of a character in a previous card. This is the Two of Swords. Haunted on a rooftop. Three of Swords with a little heart-shaped brooch on her throat, pierced by three swords. Four of Swords, I like this. It's Nosferatu in a coffin, and look, he's got a teddy bear in there with him, which is pretty cute. Five of Swords No, I might have made this one the 10 of Pentacles with all those pumpkins, but no. Here is the 6 of Swords, which is folks traversing in a Halloween boat. Seven of Swords with a headless husband and wife. Eight of Swords, trapped in a cage by a demon, but the door's open, I think. Yes. Nine of Swords, that's a good one. Fear may overtake you. Shine a light and move on. 10 of Swords, a coffin full of pointy tools, including a screw and a knife and some swords and I think an axe and an awl, a number of pointy tools and weapons. Ace of Pentacles, I love this one. If you ever fantasize living in a pumpkin house. The 2 of Pentacles is a dancing cat. The 3 of Pentacles. The 4 looks to be a jolly spooky clown. 5. 6 looks like a bunch of trick-or-treaters. 7, a scarecrow again. Lots of crows and ravens. The 8 of Pentacles looks like a devil maiden with many little demons being released from inside of an apple, it looks like. Oh, maybe it's a pumpkin. Doesn't look like a pumpkin except that it's orange. This one is the 9 of Pentacles. And the last card, the 10 of Pentacles. So, I hope you liked that. And I hope you have fun on Halloween. I will play with this deck until Friday, which is November 1st. And then I'll probably store it away until next fall. If you have Halloween decks that you like to use, let me know in the comments. And I'm happy that this came in time for Halloween to share with you. Trick or Treat, Trick or Tarot. It's called Trick or Tarot. And I will see you with a new deck soon. I've got a couple ordered that I'm very excited about, so I will be back soon to share with you. Till then, thanks for dropping by. No treats for you. Good night.